Hello and welcome to another edition of Yoga and Meditation with me, Jane Stimpson, librarian at Lone Star College Sci-Fair and Harris County Public Library and certified yoga teacher, bringing you all of our events online this semester. You can check them all out at cyflib.info/events. So you may notice I am filming in a slightly different location instead of my main living room. My hope is that perhaps the sound will be a little bit better in this room, so we'll just try it out and see how it goes this week. All right, so announcements for this week. Next week is spring break, starting Monday, March 15th. Now, we will not be holding any online programs next week during spring break, but the library will still be open for our online reference services and for curbside pickup. The only exception is we will be closed for curbside pickup on Monday, March 15th because of an event going on at the college. But otherwise, we are answering your questions and scheduling your curbside pickup times next week during spring break as usual. So tonight we are going to be starting with some movement, and my hope is to end class with a longer meditation this evening and then an optional shavasana. So we will see how we do on time for that. But I would actually like you to go ahead and start on your back this evening. So please go ahead and lie all the way back. Make yourself very comfortable. And when you're lying all the way back, palms down, let's put one hand on the belly and one hand on the chest, and just let yourself get really comfortable like that while you listen to my voice. So our last class, we reconnected with our bodies since perhaps we hadn't been moving as much as we would have liked during the winter storm. So I invite you now with one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart to check in with your body, and let's do a guided body scan to see how we're feeling this evening. So as I mention each body part, bring your awareness to that body part and just see how it's doing, what feels tender, what feels open, what feels tight, just so we can be mindful of those as we practice this evening. Okay. All right, so you can leave the eyes open or gently close them for this. And I'd like you to begin by bringing your attention to your feet, your toes, the tops of the feet, the soles of the foot, the heel, the ankle, the Achilles. Moving up, bring your awareness to your calves, your shins, your knees. Traveling up, feel your hamstrings, your quads, the tops of your thighs. Bring your awareness to your hips and your pelvic bone. And just noticing again what feels open, what feels maybe like a little tight, we might want to treat easily as we move this evening. Bring your awareness to your whole backside body touching the mat. Feel what parts of the back are touching, maybe the arch behind your lower back. It's just a little bit lifted off the mat. And bring your awareness to the whole front side body, your belly, your ribs, your chest, your pecs. And now checking in with your shoulders, the tops of your shoulders. Checking in with your biceps, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, your palms, the backs of your hands, and your fingers. And now bringing your awareness to your neck, again to the arch in the back of your neck that is slightly off the mat. Bring your awareness to your jawbones, to your face, the back of your skull, and all the way up, bringing your attention now to the crown of your skull. And just noting without blame or recrimination, those parts of the body that might need a little tenderness and love this evening as we practice. Nice. Excellent. And now from here, take a deep inhale in through your nose. Hold it at the top. Take in just a little bit more breath through your nose. And now open your mouth and deep sigh out of your mouth. Good. Bend your knees and bring the feet about mat width apart. They can be a little bit wider than your mat. And as you're here, bring your arms up above the head. You can grasp opposite elbow and just windshield wiper the knees back and forth. Just starting to bring a little bit of movement into the body now that we've checked in with it from toe to crown. And if that movement doesn't feel good, you could always have your knees still with feet wide and knees knocking together. That's your choice. And then come to a stillness. Bend the knees, hug them into your chest. And then one hand on top of each knee, you can separate the knees and just ride those knees around in circles. And then switch the direction of your circles. Just sort of warming up that leg and hip socket. And then come to stillness. Straighten both legs up to the sky as much as you can. It's totally fine to have a bend in those knees. And just point and flex the feet. Just starting to wake up the hamstrings. And then circle the ankles in one direction and in the other direction. Once more, bend the knees into your chest. And just take a rock from side to side. And if it feels better to here to do maybe a more circular motion with the hips instead of side to side, go for it. We're really just sort of massaging that low back into the mat right now. And then switch the direction of your circles if you were taking more of a circular rock here. And then eventually rolling side to side. And when you feel ready, rolling all the way over onto one side and pushing yourself up to hands and knees. And if you rolled off your mat like I did, go ahead and roll back on. Nice. Now, once we are here in our hands and knee position, take a moment and make sure that everything is squared up. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and we'll start with some cat-cow. So on your next inhale, drop the belly, look up. And on your exhale, round the back and tuck the chin. Okay, good. Several more with your own breath and your own time. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to cat. If you want, you can bring a little bit more movement to this. Maybe on your exhales and your cat, your hips travel back towards the heels. Maybe you move a little bit forward on the cow, just making this feel good for you. Good. Let's take a couple more rounds of cat-cow. Good. And then after your next cat, come back to a neutral spine. And let's just stir our own pot. So let's just move in a way that feels good for us. So here in this stirring your own pot, you can circle the hips back and down. Just make sure that you even up your circles, whichever direction you went. If it feels nice, you can stretch one calf out at a time here. You can even reverse the fingers so that you're getting a little bit of a wrist stretch, but don't worry, we'll do some less intense wrist stretches in a little bit. So again, just sort of stirring your own pot, moving in a way that feels good for you. And then if your wrists were reversed, bring them back. Very nice. And then eventually making your way back to your tabletop where you're all squared up. Very nice. All right, we're going to continue on with some core work, and you have options here. So in your first option, left hand forward, fingertips tented. Stretch the right heel back. So you can stay right here. You're balancing, you're getting core work, you're good. Or if you want a little bit more here, I invite you to lift that arm and leg. Thumb points up, toes point down. And on your next inhale, raise them up. And on your exhale, bend the elbow and knee and touch them underneath you at the center. Good, let's do 2 more of those. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch to the center. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Last time, inhale, extend. This time, bend that back leg and reach your left arm back. So thumb is pointing up, palm away from you. If you can reach that foot, great. If not, just reach for it. Don't worry about touching. If you have the foot, make sure you're not collapsing into your right shoulder here. Press the right hand down into the mat and lift out. And then exhale, release everything, and take a couple of cat-cow in between sides here. Just doing what you need to do to shake that out. Come back to neutral spine. Let's take the other side. So first option, right fingertips tented out, and we're just on the back left toes, stretching out that back left calf. We can stay right here. We're getting core work, we're getting balance work. Or to kick it up, lift them up, toes point down, thumb points up. On your inhale, lift. On your exhale, bend knee and elbow, meet at the center. Good, 2 more. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Last time, inhale, extend. This time, bending that back leg, reversing the direction of the palm, reaching back, making sure that we are lifting away from that left shoulder by pressing into the mat with the left hand. And then release. Sit back on the heels, toes together, knees wide for a child's pose. And if it feels good, you can look forward at your hands. You can tent the fingertips and get yourself a nice little shoulder stretch in between the shoulder blades. And then bring the hands down. Walk both hands to the right side of the mat and put left hand over right hand. Bow the head. On your next inhale, come up. Walk the hands over to the left, right hand on top of left hand, fingertips, all 10 fingertips press down, and bow. Good, and then come on back to the center. Come back to your tabletop. And then sit back for some wrist stretches. So come into a seated position. If it feels okay for you to stay kneeling, great. Otherwise, you can sit. Right hand out like you're telling someone to stop. Gently pull those fingertips back towards you. Right palm faces up. Gently pull the fingertips back towards you. And then right palm faces down. Pull the fingertips towards you. Release, left hand out, gently pull them back. You can do these at any time if you spend a lot of your day typing on a keyboard. Fingertips point down, stretch them back. If you spend a lot of time driving, these stretches feel really nice. And then last one, palm faces up, stretch them in. All right, release. Interlace your fingers, and on an inhale, lift them up so that palms are facing the ceiling. And just take a second here to get really tall. So make sure we're not hunching into our shoulders. Ears are away from the shoulders, and we're feeling the sides of our ribs getting really long. Good. Inhale, stretch up. And then on your exhale, round the back like we did in cat. And stretch the arms forward. Good. 2 more. Inhale, extend up. You can look up. Exhale, round. And last time, inhale, look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, come on up. And then releasing those fingertips. Don't just let them drop. Inhale where you are, and on your exhale, bend your elbows as you lower the arms, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Oh, this is one of my favorite ones. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend the elbows as you lower. Chest is broad and wide. One last one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, squeeze. It's almost like you could hold a broomstick between your shoulder blades. And release. Very nice. All right, coming back to your tabletop position. Making sure everything is squared up. Fingertips spread wide. Base of fingers, tips of fingers root down into the mat. And then light tuck of your toes. Lift the knees and the hips up and back to downward facing dog. And while you're here, bend one knee at a time. And then eventually, taking your time without rushing, slowly walk your feet forward towards your hands. And just for a moment before we roll up, take a nice forward fold. And you can sway from side to side. If it feels good to hold your elbows, you can do that. Knees can be really bent here. Good. And then release. And slowly roll up. One vertebrae at a time. Head stays bowed. And then once the shoulders roll back, then the head can lift. Nice. All right, so let's get into our standing series. As usual, I like to start our standing series with some half salutations, help us be linking breath with movement. So take your mountain pose at the top of your mat, feet together or hips width apart. Gaze straight ahead, legs engaged, tailbone slightly tucked, shoulders melting down the back. Very nice. Exhale all your breath. And on your inhale, arms rise. On your exhale, bow the knees, bend the knees, and fold forward. On your inhale, bring the hands to the shins, flatten the back, look up halfway. On your exhale, rebend the knees, refold. And on your inhale, press the feet into the earth as you rise, reach the hands towards the sky. And exhale, arms return. Good, let's do 2 more half sounds. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold forward. Inhale, hands to shins, lift halfway, thighs back, chest forward. Exhale, refold. Inhale, rise to a stand, look up, see your hands. Exhale, return. Last half. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, come up halfway, heart forward. Exhale, refold. And inhale, rise to a stand. Exhale, hands return. Very nice. Okay, we're going to keep doing some core work on our next salutation. You will have options, don't worry. Resetting your mountain pose up at the top of the mat. When you're ready, inhale, arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, step one foot and then the other foot back. Plant the palms flat and step into your downward facing dog. So hips reaching towards the back of the mat, heels driving down. Now, we are going to do some core work here and you have options. So your first option is on your inhale to come forward to plank, and on your exhale, come back to down dog. We're going to be doing it 3 times. Your other option is to put your knees down right now. Inhale forward to tabletop, exhale back to this child's pose, okay? So those are your options. So your knees are either down or you are in downward facing dog right now. On your inhale, come forward to plank or tabletop, whichever you chose. On your exhale, push it back. Okay, 2 more. Inhale forward, and you can change your variation at any time. Exhale back. Last one, inhale forward. Exhale back. Now, if you had your knees down, lift them back up into downward facing dog again. And then everybody, instead of walking hands to the feet, walk the hands back to meet the feet. Oh, sorry. Instead of walking feet to hands, you're walking hands to feet, sorry. And then once more with knees really bent here, go ahead and take your time rolling up to a stand. Head stays heavy. Head comes up last. Nice. Shake that out with some side stretches. Inhale, both arms up. Left hand grabs right wrist. And exhale, side stretch to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Right hand grabs left wrist. Exhale, side stretch to the right. This top palm's facing down. Inhale, come on up. Release the hands gently. Interlace the fingers back behind you. Roll your shoulders back. If this is too much on your shoulders, you could grab a towel held behind you with the palms facing away from you. You could also grab opposite elbow if that feels okay. I'm gonna roll my shoulders back, interlace my fingers. Everyone inhale where you are. Exhale, bend the knees and fold forward. And really bend the knees here. Try to make sure that your torso is making contact with the top of your thighs. Let the head and neck go. Inhale where you are. Exhale, release your hands gently. Bring them back down to the mat. And then on your next inhale, hands to the shins, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, rising all the way up to a stand. Nice. All right, let's keep going. So we're going to do a couple of sort of sun salutation standing pose sequences. We're going to go through each one once, and then we're going to do it a second time where we're just doing 1 breath per movement. So real sort of classic vinyasa flow this evening. All right, taking your mountain pose up at the top of the mat. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and exhale, sigh it out of your mouth. Nice. All right, reset your mountain pose. And when you're ready on your inhale, arms will rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold, right foot steps back, right heel pivots down to the mat, cartwheeling the arms up. We are in warrior 2 on the left side. So that left knee is bent. That whole right foot is on the mat. We're pressing down into the pinky toe edge of our back foot. Hands and arms are parallel to the mat. Good. Beautiful warrior two. Now on an inhale, straighten that front leg. Bring the back foot in just a little bit. And then reach for the front of your mat as your back hip kicks back. And then come into triangle. So bringing that left hand anywhere onto your leg or onto the mat, or a block if you want to practice that way. Gaze can be up towards that right hand, reaching for the ceiling, or it can be out straight ahead if that's not great on your neck. All right. Now on our inhale, we're going to come back to a stand. Use your core to bring you up. And then exhale, bend again into that front knee, but this time bring left forearm down on top, right arm up and over that right ear, forming one diagonal line from the right fingertips all the way through those right toes in our side angle pose. And then inhale, come on up, hands to the hips. Look down at your feet and move that left foot so it's pointing the same direction as your right foot. So we are facing the long edge of our mat here. Inhale where you are with your hands on your hips. And exhale, slight bend in your knee. Bring the hands down to the mat. Inhale, come up halfway, flat back. And then exhale, refold. Now, if your hands aren't on the mat and they're just holding onto your legs, that's totally fine. If you want to use blocks instead to bring the floor to you, that's great. If you do have your hands flat on the mat though, make sure that your hands are about in line with your feet so that fingertips and toes are in line. Good. Good. And then on your next inhale, lift up halfway. You might be on your fingertips. And then exhale, come all the way up. So we don't just come up in one breath. We take a couple breaths to do it. Hands to the hips. Right toes face the back of your mat. So we're going to reverse directions this way. And then bend into that right knee, right forearm down to the right thigh, left arm up and over. So you are facing the back of your mat now. If you can, think about opening that left side chest so that you can see the ceiling if you look up. Inhale, straighten, come on up. And then we're going to step that left foot in just a little bit. Reach with the right hand. And when you can't reach anymore, bring that right hand down to the leg or the mat for triangle. So we're going out the way we came in. Couple breaths here in triangle. And then inhale, come on up. Bend into that right knee. Gaze over those right middle fingertips for our warrior two. Nice. Inhale where you are. And then on your exhale, hands down to either side of the front foot, come off that back heel. We're going to come down onto our belly. So you can bring one knee and then the other knee back. Or if you want to go through plank, step that right foot back to meet the left one and lower all the way down onto your belly. Very nice. Hands flat underneath the shoulders, elbows hug in, tops of the feet are on the mat. And then pressing into the hands and tops of the feet, peel the chest off the mat for a little baby cobra. And then exhale all the way down. We're going to come back to downward facing dog. And again, you have a couple of options. You can push yourself back to tabletop and then tuck the toes and lift the knees up. Or if you want to be a little bit fancy, get a little bit more strength in your practice here. You can tuck the toes from cobra, squeeze the elbows in and push, 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 lift yourself up to plank. and then push the hips back to downward facing dog. It's totally fine if you need to reset your feet for your dog, taking a breath here in downward facing dog. And then on your exhale, walking hands back to meet the feet. When you get there, inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, refold. And inhale, press your feet into the earth to rise to a stand. Exhale, return. All right, so you're facing the back of your mat. Just turn around so you're facing the front of our mat. Okay. So we're going to do that same sequence again, but this time instead of pausing for a couple of breaths in the pose, we're going to try and take it one pose per breath. So don't worry if you sort of get out of my rhythm, you can use your own rhythm. And don't worry if you want to skip a pose in this sequence, totally fine, right? Make this your own practice. Okay. Top of the mat, mountain pose. Gaze straight ahead. One breath per movement. Exhale everything. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, right foot steps back, right heel down. Inhale, warrior two. Inhale where you are. Exhale, bend that front knee, step the back foot in, and transition to triangle pose. Inhale here in triangle. Exhale, come on back to a stand and bend into that front knee. Forearm down. Inhale that arm up and over. Side angle. And then exhale, come on back. Left toes face the same direction as right toes. Inhale where you are. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, refold. Inhale where you are. Exhale where you are. Inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, come up all the way. Turn the right toes towards the back of your mat. Inhale where you are. Exhale, bend into that right knee, forearm down, left arm up and over, side angle. Inhale here in side angle. On your exhale, straighten that front leg, step the front foot in. Inhale, reach, reach, reach. Exhale, down to triangle. One inhale here in triangle. And then exhale, back to stand. Front knee bends, warrior two. Inhale here in warrior two. Exhale, cartwheel, hands down to either side of the front foot, come off the back knee. And however you want to get there, I'm going to put knees down this time, making your way onto your belly, tucking your toes, so tops of the meat, feet and hands press into the earth. Inhale, rise to a baby cobra. And then exhale, chest back down. Push it all back to child's pose. And rest in your child's pose for a moment. Good. When you're ready, looking forward at your hands. Coming up to tabletop, tucking the toes, lifting the knees and hips up and back, downward facing dog. One breath here in downward facing dog. And on your exhale, walking the hands back towards the feet. On your inhale, hands to the shins, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, refold. And inhale, pressing your feet into the earth to help you rise. Look and see your hands reaching for the sky, maybe a little bit of a back bend. And then exhale. Release hands back towards your sides. Very nice. Okay, you're probably facing the back of your mat. Turn yourself around. Let's just take a moment before we go into our next flow. Sort of like that, but a little bit different. So just bring the palms of your hands together, fingertips spread really wide. Connect your thumb with your breastbone. And look down at your fingertips and just take a couple of breaths. Good. And then when you're ready, release hands by your sides, mountain pose. All right, let's take our little second sequence here. So remember, on this run, we're only going to be, we're doing the poses, but we're not doing one breath per movement. We'll get that on the second time. All right, mountain pose. On your next inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, bend the knees and fold forward. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, refold, right foot steps back, right heel down, but this time this back foot is pointing off more towards a 45-degree angle than towards the side of your mat. And bring arms up by your ears, this front knee is bent. We're here in Warrior One. So doing what we can to get the chest and the hips to square towards the front of the mat. Inhale. And then on your exhale, bring the hands to the hips and straighten into this front leg. You might want to step this back foot in a little bit. That's your choice. You'll figure out how it works best in your own body. Inhale, get tall. And then on your exhale, fold forward over this front leg. You can bring hands to the mat if they reach, or to blocks if they don't, or you can leave them on hips or holding onto that left ankle or calf, your choice. Wherever you are, take a moment, inhale, halfway flat back, and then exhale, refold. And think about this right hip driving towards that left leg. So that's how kind of the squaring action we want to take here. This is pyramid pose. Okay, now to come out of pyramid, gently, gently bend into this front knee and bring yourself up. Good. Pivot your feet towards the right side of your mat. This time, toes point out, heels in. Bend into both knees. We're going to take a temple pose. Hands resting on top of our thighs. And if it feels good for us here, drop the left shoulder in towards the center. Look right. And then drop the right shoulder, look left. Come back straight and into those legs, and we will pivot towards the back side of our mat for that pyramid. So this time, right foot is pointing forward, left foot is pointing about 45 degrees out to the side. You can shorten that stride if you need to. Hands to the hips, inhale where you are, and then exhale, fold over that front leg for pyramid. Once you get there, take an inhale, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, refold, thinking about driving that left hip down towards the right foot. And if you're in this and it's not feeling really great and you want to like readjust your stance, I just had to make mine a little bit wider, go for that. Nice. Good. On your next inhale, come on back up. Bend into this front knee. Lift the arms up by the ears for our warrior position, Warrior One. Okay. Inhale where you are. Exhale, hands down to either side of the front foot. Come off the back heel and just step this front foot to meet the back one for downward facing dog. We're gonna skip the vinyasa on this round, unless you absolutely want to take it, in which case come forward to plank, and then cobra, and then back. Good. Inhale where you are here in downward facing dog. And then on your exhale, walk the hands back to meet the feet. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, return. Nice. Turn around so you're facing the front of your mat. We're going to take that one last time, one breath per movement, and then we will bring it all the way down to the mat to stretch out. So this is our last little bit of heat and movement here. All right, so take your mountain pose, top of the mat. Gaze straight ahead. Exhale everything. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, refold, right foot steps back, right heel down. Inhale, arms up around the ears, warrior one. And exhale, hands to the hips, straighten that front leg. Maybe we step the back foot in a step or two. Inhale where we are. Exhale, fold over that front leg. Inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, refold. And then inhale where we are. Exhale, pivot towards the long side of your mat, toes out, heels in, knees bent. Inhale here in temple pose. Exhale. One more inhale for good measure. And then exhale, straighten the legs, pivot towards the back of your mat. Hands to the hips, inhale where you are. Exhale, folding over that front leg, pyramid. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, rising to a stand, arms by the ears. Exhale, front knee bent, settling into our warrior one. Inhale where we are. Exhale, hands down to either side of the front foot. Come off that back heel. Step it back to downward facing dog. Let's take a couple breaths in dog. Good. Last inhale in dog pose. And then exhale, knees down, toes touch. Take a rest in child's pose. Good. And then when you're ready, make your way to a seated position. And we're going to re-settle in after that, all that motion with some alternate nostril breathing, just to sort of balance everything out. So take a comfortable sit, whatever that means for you right now. We're just going to do a few rounds of this. And then with your right hand, bring thumb to right nostril, fourth and fifth fingers to left nostril, and second and third fingers right in between your eyebrows. Take an inhale through both nostrils. And on your exhale, close the right with the thumb and exhale just through the left nostril. Inhale just through the left nostril. Exhale, close the left, exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale just through the left nostril. We'll do 2 more complete rounds. Inhale left. Exhale right. And you can close your eyes here if you want. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Release your right hand down. Take a deep in-breath through both nostrils. And then open your mouth and sigh it out. Good. Excellent. Bring the legs wide for our last couple of poses before our meditation. So legs in a straddle position. It's okay to have a little bit of bend in the knees, but toes pointing up towards the ceiling, hands to the center. Inhale, get the spine long. You can stay right here being tall, or if it feels okay, walk the fingertips out and fold forward. Only as far as you can still keep that back straight. So if you're up like me and you can still see the screen, that is a-okay way to take the stretch. Definitely seen people bring their just whole torso just straight onto the floor from here. That is not my body. Everyone's is different. Good. One more round of breath here. Deep inhale. Steady exhale. And then slowly walking your hands back to center. Hands underneath the knees to bend them up and bring them in. Nice. Okay, so we're going to take a variation on a stretch we usually do. Send your right leg out long and bring this left sole of the foot in towards the right thigh. And again, totally fine to have that right knee bent a little bit. Fingertips on the other side of the right leg. Inhale, get tall. And then exhale, fold forward over that right leg. If you can hang onto the heel comfortably, or onto the right foot comfortably, go for it. But again, only stretching to the point of sensation. We never want to feel pain in any of these stretches. Good. Inhale where you are. On your exhale, gently, slowly walk it back, and we're going to turn this into a twist. So bring this left knee up, and then stamp the left foot to the outside of the right thigh. Left hand goes behind you, right hand holds onto left knee. Inhale, get tall, and on your exhale, twist open to the left. If you find yourself needing a little bit more leverage, you can transfer this right elbow to the top of the left thigh and see if that allows you to twist back a little bit further, but don't be forcing that twist. Good. Inhale. And on your exhale, come back to center. Send both legs long. Jiggle them up and down a little bit. Shake it out. And we'll take the other side. So left leg out long. Right sole of the foot into left inner thigh. Left toes point up. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, fold forward over that left foot. And if you are the type of person where you're super flexible and you can grab that foot and that is no problem, one nice variation is that if you have a block, you can hold it to the outside of the foot and then hold on to that block. It's a little bit too much stretch for me, so I'm going to stay right where I am. Again, noticing that your sides are different, so you may be able to go a little bit deeper on one side than the other side, totally normal. Good. Last inhale here. On your exhale, slowly, gently walk it back. Right knee up, right foot stamps to the outside of the left thigh. Right hand behind you, left hand holds right knee. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, twist open to the right. And again, if you need a little bit more leverage, you can bring that left elbow to the top of the right thigh. Good. Inhale where you are. Exhale. Bring it back towards the center. Same thing, two long legs. Shake it out a little bit. And then bend the the knees so that soles of the feet are, they can touch each other or they can be a little bit further apart. And you can bring the heels really close into the groin, but actually today or tonight, I think I'd like them to be a little bit further away than is your habit. Let's make this more of a relaxing down angle. Now, one thing that feels really nice here, if you have a block or book or pillow handy, take it and bring it on to your feet. You'll see why in a second. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, fold forward. And if you have your feet, I'm going to readjust on the fly here. If you have your feet in block in such a position where it is comfortable for you to just rest your forehead on that block, go for it. If this is at all uncomfortable or if it's causing strain, it's not worth it, right? It's just sometimes a nice little restorative way to get into this pose. But if it's not working for you or if you don't have a block, do not sweat it. Good. Couple more breaths here. And as you're ready, slowly, gently, those are our watch words. Bring yourself back upright. Remove your block. Hopefully that felt good. And then we're going to swing it all the way down to the floor, but we're going to do some core work with that first. So go ahead and sit on your mat, somewhere towards the middle of your mat, actually, with feet flat on the mat, knees are bent, and reach the arms out by your sides and then come onto your toes. So you're going to sort of tilt back a little bit until you're balancing on your sits bones. Now this might be totally enough balance for you. You're getting some core work, you're getting balance with your toes on the mat. But if you feel pretty good and stable, go ahead and bring those legs up. Knees can be bent, toes pointing up, or if you can straighten all the way into the legs and point the toes, you can do it that way. I'm going to take the knees bent variation. Okay, so inhaling where you are. Exhale, send those feet long, try and lie back. Just a little extra core work towards the end. Inhale, come on up to your boat pose. Exhale, send it long. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, long, just one more. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, long. And then with control, release everything down onto the mat. Excellent job with that last little core work I threw at you. All right, bend your knees. So once more, feet come flat to the mat. Feet are about hip width apart. And reach out, make sure they're close enough to you that you can sort of just brush the backs of your heels with your fingertips. We're going to take a bridge pose. So inhale where you are. On your exhale, tilt your pelvis back, so low back plants on the mat, and then press into your feet and the backs of your shoulders to lift your pelvis. If you want a little bit more, you can snuggle your shoulders underneath you and clasp your hands underneath you. We'll be here for a few breaths. So pressing down into the feet helps lift our hips. Pressing down into the back of the head, backs of the upper arms helps lift our chest. Nice little back bend here. Good. Last inhale. If your hands were clasped, unclasped. And then everybody roll down one vertebrae at a time. And then when your low back is back on the mat, just don't do anything for a breath or two. Let's just let everything settle and neutralize. And then bend the right knee into the chest. Send the left leg out long. Switch, left knee bends, right leg out long. And then bend the right knee in, last pose before we come to our sit. Let's take a happy baby. So grab the outsides of the feet, knees and feet separate really wide, feet point up towards the ceiling. And if it feels good for you to rock your baby here and rocks back and forth, go for it. And if there's any last poses you feel like your body is craving, take a second to do those now. That's all good. Otherwise, hug those knees once more into your chest. Roll over onto one side. And use your hands to press yourself up to a seated position. And we're going to spend our last few moments of class in meditation. And then if you would like to take your traditional rest or Shavasana pose after that, I invite you to do that on your own. Or if you'd like to stay further in this meditation, you can do that as well. But let's just take a moment to get really comfortable in our sit. So if it feels nice for you to roll up your mat and sit on top of that roll, you can do that. If you have a block or a bolster that you use to sit on, you can sit on top of that. So take a moment to come to the seated position that feels best for you to be seated in for the next 5 minutes or so. And when you get there, let's sit tall. Pull the waist out of the hips. Pull the rib cage out of the waist. The gaze is straight ahead. Eyes are soft. You can gently close them at this point. Shoulders are loose. And the belly is full and easy. And in this sit, just allow your breath to assume a natural rhythm. We're not trying to control the breath at all here. Just easy in-breath, easy out-breath. You can feel your belly rising on your in-breath. You can feel your belly falling on the out-breath. Rising in, falling out. So let that action, the rising in and the falling out, be the hitching post on which your attention is held. So let the breath be your focus. Just notice as it rises on the in-breath and falls on the out-breath. So 3 things will always try to pull us out of meditation. The sounds that we hear around us, the sensations in our own body, and most of all, the thoughts that arise in our own mind. So in this meditation, rather than fight against those, we're going to use those as a focus for our attention. So each time you feel your attention being pulled away from that rising in and falling out of the breath, so each sound that arises, each sensation in the body, each thought that arises, I want you to see each one of those as creating a gentle wave in your mind. So if you want to picture a lake, throwing a stone in and feeling those ripples reaching outwards. You can use each sound or sensation or thought, picture those as a stone sinking and waves reaching away as each wave rises and passes away. Your breath is shallow and even. You're not reaching toward or pushing against sounds or sensations or thoughts. Just allow the mind to assume its natural tides. And you'll find that as the breath quiets, the mind quiets. And whatever arises creates a simple, shallow ripple in the mind and then passes away. Thoughts, emotions, desires, each awareness creates a tiny wave, just a ripple, rising and falling. Resting in this space for another moment. Rising in, falling out, envisioning anything that comes up to pull us from that awareness. It's just creating a tiny, tiny wave that ripples and then passes away, allowing us to bring our attention back to the rising in and falling out of the breath. I invite you to continue to stay in this meditation, or if you would like to, feel free to lie back and rest for a few moments in your rest pose. But if you're ready to move on, with the eyes gently closed, bring the hands to touch, palms touching in front of your heart. Bow your head, drop your hands, and gently blink your eyes open and come on back. Thank you all so much for practicing with me this evening. I look forward to seeing you the next time. Take care, everyone.